So I'm going to be going over the last FRQ of your in-class review guide for Quiz 1, Micro Quiz 1. The question reads, Jeffrey takes 6 hours to make a pair of pants or 24 hours to make a pair of shoes. Kieran can make a pair of pants in 30 hours or a pair of shoes in 90 hours, answering the following questions. When we're talking about these type of questions on the AP exam, the first thing you're going to want to do is identify, is this an input problem or an output problem? The difference between the two determines how we calculate opportunity costs for comparative advantage. It also determines how we assess who's, quote, most productive for absolute advantage. In this case, the outputs here are constant. It's one pair of pants, one pair of shoes. The inputs are variable, the amount of hours it takes to make one pair of pants or one pair of shoes. Since the inputs are variable, this is an input problem. So when we're taught, the first two questions is absolute advantage in shoemaking and pants making. And when we're looking at absolute advantage for an input problem, we want to say who's the best, who's more productive in making shoes and pants. First one's about shoemaking. So who's better at making shoes? Jeffrey, who can do it in 24 hours, or Kieran, who can do it in 90 hours. 24 hours is more productive. You're using less resource, in this case time, than 90 hours. So we would say Jeffrey. And the reason is 24 is less than 90. That's all you need. Anytime you see explained on the AP exam, they want you to make it a positive statement. Give data to support your claim. Who's the absolute advantage in pants making? Jeff does again. And why? Because 6 hours is less than 24 hours. And that's all you have to say. Now, what they want you to do is they want you to identify who is the comparative advantage in each. Who would specialize in pants making and shoe making. Even though Jeff has a double absolute advantage, it's still beneficial for both parties to specialize in trade based on comparative advantages. So this is an input problem, which means I go first, I for input, whatever you want to say to help you remember that. So when we're talking about pants, it's 6 hours, that's going to go first, 6 over 24, means that the opportunity cost of pants is 1/4 of a shoe. The other way I like to think about it, if those 6 hours Jeffrey has making a pair of pants, if he devoted that to making shoes, how many shoes could he make? And in 6 hours, you could only make 1/4 of a shoe because it takes 24 hours to make a shoe. Now the opportunity cost of a shoe for Jeffrey is going to be the reciprocal. But let's still do the math. I first, so 24 over 6 equals 4 pants. On this side, when we're talking about opportunity cost, we want to talk about the units being the other goods. So the opportunity cost of pants is in shoes, and the opportunity cost of shoes is in pants. Just make sure we're doing that. Now Kieran, I first, so it's 30 over 90, which is 1/3 a shoe. And this will be 90 over 30, which is 3 pants. Again, to just have your thinking constant or consistent here, if Kieran spends 90 hours on a shoe, if he were to take those 90 hours and devote it to pants, how many pants could he make? And if he's spending 90 hours on a shoe and it only takes 30 hours to make a pants, those 90 hours can make 3 pants. So now we've checked to make sure everything's good. Now looking at opportunity costs, we always want to look at the lowest. Who has the lowest opportunity cost? For a pair of shoes, would you rather pair 3 pants or 4 pants? You'd rather give up 3 pants than 4 pants. So here's our comparative advantage. You can't have a double comparative advantage. It's impossible. So that means Jeff's going to be the comparative advantage in pants. So if they specialize, Kieran is making shoes, Jeffrey is making pants. And what would a fair term of trade be? Well, I like to deal with whole numbers. You could do either one, but let's look at shoes. So we'll say 1 pair of shoes equals how many pair of pants? Kieran is making shoes. It costs him 3 pants for every shoe. Jeffrey can make his own shoes for 4 pants. So Kieran won't accept less than 3. Jeffrey won't pay more than 4. So let's just split the difference and go 3.5 right here. And that would be a fair term of trade. You could do the reciprocal here. That would be 3.5 would be 7 over 3, I believe. 7 over 2, sorry, 7 over 2. My mistake. And that would be a fair term of trade here too. Would be 2/7. Reciprocal of that. 7 over 2, 2/7. That would be right in the middle. So you could say 2 out of 7 shoes for 1 pair of pants. It works